A3 season finale around Brazil, and it is myself, Brett, and I am joined with Daniel, if he would like to introduce himself.
Good evening, everyone. Happy to be back for another great race.
In our last race on the F1 2019 game, I mean, we must have to say that it's been a good little season, or a good little AOR year on this game.
Well, absolutely, the league has grown a lot, and of course, we've got a championship fight going right down to the wire. 23 points is the gap between Will, the championship leader, and Caden in second position.
So that means all Will needs to do is finish P8 in tonight's Grand Prix, and he will be the world's driver champion of AOR F3.
It's not going to be easy for Forbes here today to win the championship, but anything can happen in Formula 1. You cannot count the Racing Point driver out. He's coming out of the pits as we roll off on our qualifying session.
Well, it looks like Will is the first one out on the grid at the moment. I am currently trying to do something, so you can take his lap when he starts it.
Okay, well, just a little word about Will. He's been one of the most consistent drivers this year. He's just coming through the second sector. It's a pretty tough track to get right, but it's one of the quickest. We're going to have 36 laps here today, as Will's going to start to slow up. He's going to build up his ERS. You can see that he's just gone into number 5, into hot lap mode, which is the highest mode you can have. Full power deployment, as now he pulls the trigger and he's going to start his lap, what maybe one of his last laps in this season, and of course the last AOR lap and qualifying session in the game. As he comes down into turn number 1, very easy to lose it in the center S's, especially with the track limits. He seems to have got that okay, a little bit lag from him, but he's held it under control. As now coming down the long straight into the braking zone, about 70 meters out into turn number 4, then opening it up wide and through this fast left-hander down the straight to now this I think it's turn 5 or turn 6, where it's pretty easy to go wrong there. Easy to lock up here. He seems to have kept it nice and neat now, short shifting up to third, down into first, and then putting it all the way up to fourth, trying to get all of the grip he can now, where Hamilton overtook Albon infamously and got himself a time penalty through one of the fastest corners on the circuit. Oh, he's run a little wide there, and that is unfortunate for Will, as now he's invalidated his lap, so he's going to have to recharge his battery and do it again. He might as well cross the line at full speed to see what he would have done as he opens up the DRS, one of the 2 DRS straight on this circuit. He would have set a 1:08.3. That would have been the time to beat. I think it is Anderoa to cross the line next. He's going to be the first one to set a valid time of 1:08.1. So good time from Anderoa out of the block straight away.
Well, yes, I'm still not done yet, but it was a very kind of up and down lap there from Will to start off the session, and unluckily he invalidates. But what did you say the lap was again?
I think it was a 1:08.3. I think what it was, but it's already slipped my mind.
I'm just making sure. I just making sure I have to get this tweet right that I'm doing currently. But as soon as that is done, we will get underway for tonight. Right, here we go. Done. Right. So after Caden Forbes really goes provisional pole at the moment with a 1:8 flat, as you said, I believe. It's Cohen also tonight looking to be on the pace. I'm just making sure, is my mic testing alright? As it's being a bit up and down recently. Mick though, also in P4 at the moment. He's had a very up and down season, as I keep saying it so far in this thing, or in this stream. But it's good to see Mick kind of in a high position in qualifying. Even though it is early, it's really good that it sets your momentum up for the rest of the session, as a few other people go and set a lap there. I believe MNT Marvin does knock Mick down a position with a 1:8.3. That's a very nice lap from Marvin there.
Oh, well, they're both very close in the championship. Actually, there's a little bit of a fight going on between them two and a couple other drivers. They're sitting in 8th and 9th respectively, so it's good to see them up in the fray in the higher positions. There's only been 10 drivers to set a lap though, so it's not over yet.
Well, definitely Marvin has been the kind of one driver throughout consistently in the season to be able to challenge the likes of FVA Forbes and FVA Will G, but consistency hasn't always been there for him, and it's a bit of a shame to see, because I know personally, and I know Marvin, that he has the pace to easily fight the top guys and possibly could have even got a championship this season. But luck is something that isn't always on your side, as a lot of us will know, as Ayrton actually goes pole position with a 7.9 there.
Decent lap from Ayrton. He has been a pretty consistent driver in the points most races, and of course has had 4 podiums, but he's not taken the win. Maybe he can do it today. It's a possibility. Ayrton's one of the quickest drivers on the grid.
Well, the likes of Forbes, who is really, I mean, the pace around this track for him is one of his best, if not, I believe it is his best track on pace. He maybe doesn't like it much compared to other tracks, but it's definitely his best track, I would say. Saying, I believe it's 7.6s, I believe. I think that's what he's been saying. So I mean, Ayrton setting a 0.9 there is an incredible lap for him.
Absolutely, it's definitely going to see him in a top fight for maybe a front row start. That could be a bit ambitious, but it's certainly a possibility. As I don't know who's on a lap right now. I think Andoro's just started one if you'd like to get on board.
Yeah, going on board with him as he goes through. I actually need to get a few of the things up here. Minimap, full track, detail fitted there. And Andrew does go up the hill. I mean, this is a bit of a weird corner. He does decide to go into 5th gear, maximising the revs, getting the car nice and turned, and doesn't use all the curb on the inside there, but does on the next corner, keeping the car tight to the curb as well. G actually sets a 0.9, going P2, not beating out Ayrton in this session. Andrea though comes through the flying left-hander into, realistically, the corner that sets up the final part of your lap. Now flat out up the hill, here he comes to the line, going to stay tight to the left-hand side of the track here. Shortest way to the checkered flag, and what's it going to be? Crosses the line and sets up 17.938. That puts on P2 in this session. That from first to third is separated by, I believe, 23 hundredths? No, thousandth. I don't know. That's not on my side today.
I do believe it is 23 thousandths, yeah. But crucially for Will, he's put himself ahead of his championship rival Forbes right now, who's actually about to finish a lap. He's currently in the 2nd sector. He seems to be, I think he's still improving, as he's actually about to cross the split line. He's up by a 10th, just a little bit under a 10th and a quarter. This could be a really good time from Forbes here.
But as he makes his way to the line here, sticks close to the left hand side of the track here, basically going over the green, up to the line, goes pole position with a 0.8. An absolutely incredible lap midway through the session, and I mean that is going to be quite hard to beat as Ayrton actually makes his way out the pits. Andreo also coming into the pits now. Cohen unable to really beat his lap yet. He's setting invalid there.
Well,
sorry for the blue screen, guys.
well, as I was saying, Cohen has done very well recently. He was fighting for the win last time out in Was it Austria? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? But I'm trying to find him on the standings. I don't think he's actually on the standings. It's very strange. I think it's because he's a
Well,
reserve driver, isn't it?
Baki is going to be the next one to set his lap, and he recently came alive in this season as now he goes into turn 1, right down into second, short stepping back up the third, getting the car turn in, sticking to the curb on the left, as it seems like that's something you do a lot on this track, making his way shortest way to the corner, going through the double left-hander, doesn't get the entry once there and has to slow down a bit too much as he makes his way up the hill now, going through the fast right-hander, keeps it lower revs than the likes of Will earlier, but going down nice into the hairpin. I mean that is literally every corner around here. And maximising the exit, he's keeping it in third gear actually, making sure he gets the best grip possible now into the final main corner. Don't exactly know the turn numbers, I wish they had that on my screen. It would be very nice to know. Baki though, making his way to the line here. Will he be able to set a competitive lap? Crossing the line now, goes at P6 with an 8.118.
That's actually pretty strong from him. Not too far off the pace of Forbes, I think it is.
AOR Ayrton does improve, but does not beat out Forbes.
Just 300ths back from the Racing Point driver. The gap's so marginal at this point of qualifying, with only 6.5 minutes left. Anything can happen right now.
Well, the championship leader is currently on a lap as he makes his way up the hill, keeping it nice and tight onto the apex, and goes a bit deep there, but will chop off the next corner and maximise his exit. Short stepping down to third and actually going up to fourth there. So it seems like these guys really opting for the maximum grip.
Well, of course, there's a lot of low traction zones on this track. Will is just under 1,000 slower, so 100 slower, so he's pretty much on the bubble of improving. I don't know if he's going to be able to best Forbes' time here. We're about to find out as he keeps it tight to the left-hand side. Will is going to improve, but he's half a tenth down on his championship rival right now.
Well, we know Will G, well I personally know from just being a party and before this commentary start that he was struggling a bit in the qualifying section. His race pace is decent, but he was saying that Caden is the quicker driver around here at the moment and he's not expecting to beat him tonight.
Well, I believe that
Andrea was P2 with 07.907. Don't know why that confused me. Sorry to cut you off, but continue.
But the gaps are getting a lot closer, and as I was saying, the only option that Forbes has to win this championship is to win the Grand Prix and hope that Will has an incident and finishes out points. But this is not looking promising for him, as Mikulitzi, very strong time, he goes 5th fastest, 700th down on Forbes, the top 5 separated by less than a tenth.
Well, that's just showing you how close and how people want to go out with a bang in the final race of the season. And Mikulitzi, like we said, he's been up and down this season, but maybe, just maybe, he can show his final pace in this final lap. And it's a 0.7 from Caden Forbes. What a lap.
Well, just as everyone was getting closer to him, he sends that one, and he's just gone under 2 tenths ahead of his nearest rival, so he's really setting the pace, and he's proving that he's the quickest driver around this track right now.
Well, will anyone be able to challenge him? That is the question. But gap to leader right now from behind is 0.179 tenths. I know I got that one right. Bruno though opting for a little bit of a weird stint here. Is 2 laps old soft tyres in qualifying. I mean, the tyres do go a long time. I mean, I think maximum they can go lap 19 round here, but I mean, it's maybe not the best idea to be out on them for 2 laps.
Well, most likely he's going to head into the pits now and he's going to prepare for his final run and then fit a fresh set of the Red Bull tyres to maybe challenge Forbes.
Well, it looks as if Vaporon is about to begin his lap as okay. So I've actually seen that technique from a few people to maximise the exit going up the straight here. It basically goes completely off track so we can flat out the final main corner. But we'll see how that helps him starting his lap here. As it goes into the braking zone, braking at, I believe, is it the 100 or 50 metre board? Around here.
I think it's the 50 metre board, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably going to get grilled for that later on, but well, not improving at the moment. He's a 10th exactly down.
He was running a 1-3 wing earlier, so I believe he has changed though, as the race pace was not good, but it was setting about 210 miles per hour in the straight, so he was he was going to be making some mad overtakes if he did run that during the race. Das driver seeming to struggle though on grip. The car's just not sticking to the track at the moment. As it goes into the main final corner, he's actually going to have Cohen in front of him here, and he does have another tank slapper, but I believe he's still down on his time, and it may be worth going to S Cohen, or TTZ D Warren actually, who's on a lap right now. Does go deep as we go on board with him, commentator's curse. But will he be able to salvage the rest of the lap? As a mistake like that in the second sector can cost you, but not really that much.
Well, Cohen just crossing the split line. He's a 10th, just a little bit over a 10th up on his time. That would see him not too far up the grid. Currently sitting in 9th, coming up the hill into the fast right-hander. This is looking pretty neat from the Dutchman here right now. So let's continue on this lap with him. Coming into the corner number, I do not know. I think there's a Mercedes of Baki off the track somewhere in the middle sector. Cohen is 2/10 up on his time. That could see him enter the top 5 if he can nail this final couple corners and the main straight. He's going to open up DRS, keeping it tight to the left hand side of the track. What is Cohen going to set? He is going to do a 1:08.0. That's him 5th position behind Nikulitsi and ahead of Bruno, who's also on a lap right now.
Well, hello everyone in the chat and everyone watching the stream. Be sure to say hi. It's Andrew. Says a .573, and I bet you Forbes was not expecting that tonight.
I don't think anyone's beating that.
Forbes is a 10th down as well, so it's all over for his qualifying round tonight. Ayrton though, will he have a chance to possibly snatch second, as we thought it was going to be comfortable for Forbes?
I don't think anyone was expecting that lap, but still, Ayrton is improving as well. This could actually, I think he might be able to get ahead of Forbes here. We're going to find out as he's going to cross the line. The clock has struck 0, so that means no one can start any new laps. What's Ayrton going to do? Is he going to go quicker than Forbes? No, he won't.
Misses out by not much. What about Will G? He is currently also not on a lap anymore. Well, but I think no one's on a lap except from Jamie James. He's had a bit of an up and down season after his great few debut races, or well, his debut race. And let's see what he can do when he comes up to the lane. I don't know what's happened to me. I need energy. Jamie James though comes up to the line. What's he going to set? Goes P13 with a 1:08.2. Not the best showing from Jamie James tonight in qualifying, but I'm sure he will make his way up the grid in the race.
Marvin's just set a lap time. He's gone quicker than his teammate Will, despite Will actually allowing his teammate the slipstream as he's lagging all over the place. I think that is the end of qualifying, and Anderoa pulls into the pit lane. He is going to be on pole by 1.5 tenths, very strong from the Alfa Romeo.
I mean, I can tell you right now, I did not expect that from Andrea tonight, but he definitely showed that he is actually the quickest driver tonight, maybe. Well, as the drivers decide to put their car in the pit and then get ready for the race in just a few minutes, we will then go over the qualifying results now actually. So it is Andrew going at P1, almost 2 times ahead of Caden Forbes in P2. Then NER Ayrton falls behind in P3 with setting a 17.7. Further down again is MNT Marvin in P4, Will G P5, Michelitz behind them in P6, it's Cohen P7, Bruno P8, Baki P9, Artillero finishing off the top 10. Then TTG D Warren in 11th, LeBron 12th, Jamie James 13th, Vaporon 14th, Solid 26th, 15th, LR Zach and Mael rounding off the grid. Ooh. So as the session loads, it's looking like quite overcasty conditions here, Daniel.
It could be an interesting one here today. We could maybe see some rain, but it will all depend on what the drivers on the outside of the top 10, what tyres they're going to fit. If they're on hards, then that's going to basically guarantee rain at the end of the session. But looks dry out on track. It certainly is dry as we wait for drivers to set their strategies and change their fuel load.
Well, I'm still shocked that Andrew set that kind of lap. I mean, I mean, that would have put him. I don't even want to question where that would have put him in F1.
I could maybe have a look. It was a dry session for AOR F1. I think their race has actually just finished. Well, it finished a little while ago, I think. It was Danny winning the race in his championship win, but I'll find out the qualifying result right now.
Well, as the drivers prepare for today's Grand Prix and the final Grand Prix of the season, as we've mentioned before, I mean, Caden Forbes needs to focus on getting past Andrea right by the start. He cannot afford to have Will G anywhere near him in this race.
What was Andrea's time again?
It was 1 minute 7.5.
1 minute 7.5. That would have put him in 14th in F1. Are you sure it was a 1.7.5?
Oh wait, no.
Oh wait, no. Oh, I thought you said 107.7. No, that would have put him in P5, I think. Would have put him in 6th place behind Onyx. And ahead of Dommy.
That is some lap. Obviously qualifying is not everything. Well, I mean, on this game it's quite important, especially with a track like this where DRS trains are a common feature. But he would have been P7, yeah. P7, P6, I think. But as the drivers get in their grid positions, I mean, we have quite a full grid actually. We have one more driver than AOR F1 did tonight. We'll call that a nice success, but Andrew will lead the drivers off in the start. As the drivers prepare their engines revving, 5 red lights are out and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's a bad start for from Forbes, but it looks like I don't even know what's going on, and there's a crash for FEA Forbes. Will G also makes a collision, the 2 Mercedes off track there. That is big news, and his title hopes possibly in the bin. MNT Marvin though right behind Andrea with an absolutely amazing start down the inside of all the drivers there. Andrea not being that kind to Forbes on the start there, as Forbes made a bit of a dive bomb going into turn 1, I believe. But will Marvin be able to stick with the Alfa Romeo driver?
Oh, it's been a pretty chaotic start. There's drivers going off in the back. Solid Ninja Snake, Vaporeon and D Warren all getting involved in their own issues, but I know Caden is one of the most rambunctious drivers, very loud. He'd be raging right now. It's a long race, but this is certainly not going to help him. He's down in 13th position now. Dreadful start from him. Oh, Mikulitzi's around as well, in the grass.
Are you sure? He's fine.
No?
Mikulitzi? Don't you mean D Warren?
No. What? Is this
Mikulitzi's
me
in P8, P9.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna
Jamie
leave,
James is down at the inside. Did you have a second invite? Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Of Mikulitzi there and gets P8 position, for position there. Bruno though in P7 looks to catch up to back of theirs. There's more battles going on behind us. LR Zach decides to be opportunistic down the inside of the Red Bull driver. And also more battles going on as R12 goes round the outside going up the hill here. We're seeing the drivers go all out in tonight's Grand Prix. If Forbes decides he needs to make his way up the grid as he has not really any front wing damage, and he will continue to go up. He went from, I believe, 14th to now at P11.
Okay, now I'm back in the race. It's where's Mikulitzi for you then?
P13 now.
Okay, yeah, no. Okay, it showed for me on my screen. He was spun around in the grass. Like,
I feel like you were talking about D Warren. DRS,
sure
wait,
not.
DRS wasn't enabled? Oh wait, okay, wait. Can't believe I just made that mistake. But it's Cohen actually, also making a fair few positions, I believe, on the start there. Let's see how many he's actually gained. And it's Cohen has gained 3 positions, but that is not the biggest gainer in this session. It's actually Jamie James making 5 positions in tonight's start.
Well, Zach just behind him has made up 7, so they've both been on the
I
chart.
didn't see that.
Pretty chaotic start from all of the drivers pretty much in the back of the field right now. From, well, LeBron and back, I guess.
Well, it's Cohen is currently trying to knock this gap down from him and Ayrton, keeping it within the second. But DRS should help him out here and make him close into that gap. It actually does dip out a second, and that means that he possibly may not have DRS for this straight.
Oh, Will gaining on Cohen, of course. Will's signature lag coming into play there. He's zipping all over the track right now for me, but he's gonna have a really good run out of here, I think. Actually, he's a little bit slower than Cohen, but still lagging all over the place. He's got DRS. Cohen does not, so this could be down the inside for Will, provisionally winning the championship as it is right now. And yeah.
It's fine, we love some car and car action. NER Ayrton doing well to stick with the front 2 at the moment, but I mean, this is not really a front 2 that we're used to, is it, Daniel?
No, it's not. Marvin's been well, he had a decent middle of the season. He picked up a win and a podium. He's not had any points since that podium in China, so he's really been struggling. So I'd like to see Marvin get a good result. And Aroa also, he's been pretty unlucky in recent races. I'll actually find out where he is in the standing. I think he's just ahead of Marvin, actually. He's in 7th right now, yeah.
Well, speaking of maybe bad seasons, you have to look at TTG D Warren and X Vaporon also having another bad night.
Such a shame for both these drivers. They've really got good pace, but they've just not had a good season at all. Dylan Warren has been in the points only once this season, and Vaporeon's only been in it 3 times, so They really had
Oh!
it tough this year.
And it looks like a half spin for LeBron there, but Caden Forbes almost getting another incident tonight, but doing well to stay clear of it. Same with Michalizzi.
He's done a good job. Forbes has to get back up the field so far. He's just kept his nose clean, stayed out of trouble. Aside from never mind. He gives up.
Did he just straight line into a wall?
Yeah.
It's not what you want to see from someone that's fighting for a title, and maybe that's possibly the reason why he hasn't won it.
Well, that's the final nail in the coffin. Will is going to be the champion no matter what happens today.
Well, he makes his way into the pits being very opportunistic, similar to Artillery, right? Taking advantage of this VSC, but the race still goes on and there's still positions to be made.
I'm a little bit disappointed it's had to end this way. But we've got to move forward. VSC's gone. I guess the front three is going to have a good battle now.
Well, yeah, now we don't have to focus as much down the middle of the field as Sammy James there gets a 3-second time penalty very early in the Grand Prix here for Brazil.
Just going to find battles on track right now.
Well, I'm just keeping on board with AOR Ayrton currently, as he is trying to start with the top two and has done, like I said earlier, a very good job of it. Surprisingly, no one really trying to counteract Will G's movement when he pitted under the VSC there. People taking it nice and calm. This is a battle going on actually below, or well, down the grid, as you have M&T, LeBron and Michalizzi going nose to tail on the straight here. Michalizzi activates DRS. Will he get it back down the inside? Yes, he does. LeBron will not be forgiving, and no, he's not. Again, we're seeing an F3, a bit maybe not most sensible driving from many of the drivers tonight.
Michalizzi was alongside him from my camera angle, and then LeBron's just completely chopped him off like he wasn't there. You'd expect in this high of a division, it's one of the quickest divisions, that they'd be a little bit more respectful, but it's unfortunate that that's happened. He's just got to move on. Michalizzi already was suffering with wing damage from before, so that missing end plate wasn't from contact with LeBron. He's just going to have to get his head down, maybe make a pit stop and try an alternate strategy. Unlucky for him.
Well, looking on board with Will G as he looks to make a pass on ILRT Mail, as now he moves to the inside, very aggressively setting the fastest lap to add on to it and gets him done very nicely there. And I must say, I've never noticed Will G's helmet. I don't know if it's a new one, but it's very nice. Reminds me of the Braun car.
I was going to say it was a clean move and swift from Will. He's back into the top 10. And yeah, I was right. Michalizzi's going to come into the pits, fit a new set of medium tyres, so he's going to try and extend them as long as he can.
Well, further up the grid is M&T Marvin, who's actually now out the second of Andreo. And maybe needs to think about looking at other opportunities to possibly grab the win off of him.
It could be smart for him to let Ayrton by, maybe tag along in his DRS, because Ayrton, he's kept within the second that he needs, so he's going to be right on the rear of Marvin coming through the next DRS zone, back-to-back DRS straight, very high frequency overtaking move into turn 4, I guess.
Well, I just want to mention the top 5 currently in F2 is not much action is taking place in here. Is VRT Feynman, VRT Aero, VRT Jordan Polska, Kometa Sam Ubin and BDG Kiske, who is actually the championship winner in F2 by quite a considerable margin. But the big title for that for AOR F2 tonight is constructors, and it looks like currently Mercedes may have it.
Who's in the Mercedes in F2?
What?
Who's in the Mercedes in
Oh,
F2?
VRT Loney and Kiske. Sorry. Loney's decided to pit for a little bit of an alternate strategy, as there was a safety car earlier in that race, and went onto the hard tyres, so he's going to the end, while Kiske is on P5.
Whilst not much is happening at the sharp end of the field, there's a 3-car train right now consisting of Vaporeon, D Warren and Solid Ninja Snake. 3 different chassis, 3 different engines. They're going to be duking it out very shortly.
Well, we look at one of them as a hard runner, 2 of them are soft runners, 2 of them are friends, and one of them probably doesn't even know them. So we will see how this plays out, but it looks like the 2 ahead are actually pulling away with the soft tyres, sticking very closely to each other, and it looks like D1 will go round the outside of X Vaporon and not going to really put much. Oh, he does! Dives it back down the inside of the Haas driver does on the Red Bull, but the Red Bull will hold it round the outside and will go round the outside for the next corner. Now going up the straight, it's allowing Solid Ninja Snake to possibly get involved here as they go side by side in the next corner. Does D Warren? Oh, he goes wide onto the AstroTurf. These 2 fighting out a lot to have a major voice crack, and now Solid Ninja Snake tries to put a fight in, but the soft tyres just have that ultimate and superior grip.
Oh, Vaporeon running a little bit wide, coming into that right-hander D Warren. Interestingly enough, neither driver had the DRS's Vaporeon getting a little bit of a fishtail on. They're really going at it right now as they're making a little bit of contact, but it seems to be D Warren ahead of Vaporeon now, who's really struggling actually. He's running wide. He's taking a 3-second time penalty. He's going to get the better exit and just cruise past D Warren there. That seemed like a bit of an illegal move, to be honest. Now D Warren looks to the outside, coming to turn number 1. Vaporeon, is he going to fight it? Don't know if he is. He's not. D Warren's going to move into the lead. Not into the lead, into P13. I wish it was going on at the top right now.
Oh, but Vaporon's going to come back round the outside. They know the camera's on them most likely, and they're going for it. It's a right tussle as he goes round the outside. Both still side by side now. They go up the hill. Michelesi also trying to get involved with the battle behind, but Vaporon doesn't defend the position, but does have a huge tank slap and actually taps D Warren now. Will he go for another move? No, he doesn't. But these drivers, as Michelesi makes a beautiful move round the outside to Solid Ninja Snake there. Speaking very quickly. I don't know why.
Well, Michelesi out of these.
Talk about other moves. Oh, sorry to cut you off. Well, G now down the inside of LeBron. He is getting a move on in this Grand Prix, but he does know he is the championship winner and will be taking his car to the final, well, to the checkered flag. But one thing he did mention, if Caden does retire, he is going to be doing donuts on the straight at the end of the Grand Prix, so I would really like to see that. I think we all would love to see that. But more battles still going on behind. Right down for 13th position here is Vaporon now looking to come back at the Red Bull driver, but doesn't have DRS, but does make a dive. Indeed, TTG D Warren does give him the room, but Michelesi now down the inside of D Warren now also round the outside. They're free wide, going up the hill. This is not going to end well, guys. As the pit stops begin, it's Cohen into the pits, Marvin into the pits, and Duro into the pits. Vaporon holds position. Mick overtakes his teammate and looks to set his eyes on Vaporon now. As he will go down the inside of the hairpin there, and Vaporon doesn't really have much to answer back. No, yes he does. Back down the inside, down the hill they go. What? Still going at it. There's a proper tussle here. Solid Ninja Snake just having to watch. There's a hard time. It's raining.
Is it?
Yep. It's just started raining and people have pitted. as Vaporon back down the inside. Dylan holding it around the outside, getting the better grip for the next, or this is Mick, sorry. Oh, but Dylan is making it free wide there, getting forced off the track by Vaporon, really squeezed him towards the inside of the circuit, and they really go for it down the inside. The two Red Bulls now side by side, big tank slapper from D Warren. Solid into six, looks to get the move done as he goes up the hill, but doesn't get it done. Vaporon forces D Warren wide. Oh my god, the battling, and D Warren does go back down the inside for the second sector, but gets knocked away from Vaporon.
Right, it is raining. I've just seen spots of water on the camera. I was looking for about half a lap just to see if there was any. I was really confused. But surely that means Anderoa, Cohen, and who else pitted, Marvin. Surely that means they've thrown their races away.
Well, I mean, we're looking at Will G right now, and he could be in a very good position by the end of this Grand Prix. That's if he does not decide to do donuts. But speaking of Will G, does get a penalty there as he does decide to track extend, but he will not be bothered as all he has to focus on is having a good time. Again, though, further down the grid, Michalizzi and Vaporon going at it. Vaporon gets the move done, and it seems to maybe the storm is calm. No, it has. Michalizzi comes right back at him down the inside of the second left-hander. They're up the hill, they go side by side. A little bit of lag from Michalizzi, but does hold it right round the inside of, out the outside of the hill, and gets the move done. What a transition between these two.
Alright, I do fear for them though. I feel at one point they are going to wreck. Former teammates really going at it right now. But yeah, the rain really starting to calm down. It doesn't look like it's wet enough for a set of intermediates, obviously. But it is beginning to pick up. So that could mean if Ayrton's able to keep his tyres alive, do you seem to be struggling with right now?
Oh, really? I mean, the soft tires can go long as Forbes finally does leave the session tonight, and it is a shame to see him kind of give up in that way, but there's always the next season he hopes to be in AOR F2. I reckon he might have the pace to be in F2, but I reckon he could be a midfield driver.
Well, Vaporeon and Michalizzi still giving us a show as Bruno pulls into the pit lane. It'll be interesting to see if he goes on to a set of intermediates or to a set of dry tyres, as now D Warren's trying to stick his nose in there, trying to get involved in this battle. Still running side by side is Vaporeon and Michalizzi. LeBron taking a 3-second time penalty. It's confirmed Bruno has gone onto the medium tyres. This could mean the rain won't last too long, actually, because the drivers are fully well aware that there is rain on track. Why wouldn't you stay out longer to
but here, Solid Instinct finally getting involved here down the inside, and it's going to be free wide going into turn 1 here, but it looks like D Warren does have to back out just a bit. Vaporon goes wide, Mick back down the inside, gets a move done, and now looks to focus on Vaporon.
Well, as they pull down the straight, Vaporeon's really going to be in a vulnerable position. Is that going to be D Warren going up the inside of his teammate Michalizzi there? They're running side by side now up the hill. Solid Ninja Snake with the best seat in the house. It's going to be a case of I think the hard tyres are going to be quicker than the old softs at this point. I think we're reaching that crossover phase where the softs are going to start dying out. They can still go a little bit longer, especially since these guys started. Actually, they pitted, so they're going to be able to run a couple more laps in this race.
Well, I suggest we look further up the field where we're seeing a bunch of moves being made between Zach, Will G and Marvin. But it looks like Marvin, obviously on the fresher mediums, is trying to pull away from his teammate. But this Will G doing a very good job to stick with him here.
Well, Marvin with the fresher tyres, he's going to be quicker than Will. Zach is going to be pretty slow. It'll be a tough job for him to keep up with these guys. Actually beginning to lose the rear just a little bit. I don't I have a prediction that I don't think that this rain is going to last too long, as this has been a battle that's been going on for so long. D. Warren and Vaporeon now going at it. They swapped seats a couple races ago, and they're still banging wheels, banging side pods, as no real respect being given. They want to put on a show. They're going for broke as Vaporeon almost cuts the track there. Zach's pulled into the pit lane. It'll be interesting to see what tyres he goes onto. As now down the inside goes D. Warren. He runs a little bit deep, so that's going to give Vaporeon the run on the outside, but he can't make the move stick as Solid Ninja Snake gets past Mikulicki in the background and dive down the inside. They are putting on a great show as Zach has now fitted the intermediate tyres.
Well, it's not definitely not ready for the intermediates, but he might as well try. He's got nothing to lose in the race at the moment, as they all go on the straight here. Any moves are going to be made. Vaporeon got the DRS, so it's protecting him from behind, but D. Warren's has to pull out a bit of a goal, and that's a huge impact from Vaporeon. D. Warren, we knew it was going to happen, but not in that way. That was practically just a straight line. Voice crack. Straight line. No, another one. A straight line from Vaporeon. Well, I don't know. It's because I've not got a drink. I'm sorry, guys. It's not my fault. Okay.
I did predict it as Ayrton and Baki fitting dry tyres, but I did predict that they were going to take each other out eventually, and it might be wise for them to pull into the pit, take off these soft tyres and maybe try run to the end. We've not seen a safety car, interestingly enough, but Zach's lost so much time. He really did not pull the right strategy call. The rain is certainly not lasting. I was right about that too, as he's going to come into the pit. He's effectively lost probably about maybe 40 seconds of time. Could be even worse.
I mean, them voice cracks were shocking. I really apologise. Always. Well, let's talk about Anderoa, who is currently chasing down the likes of Jammy James right now.
Well, I did say that they were essentially throwing their races away, but I do take that one back, as actually Will and Marvin going side by side. Marvin letting his teammate through. They're going to be slipstreaming off of each other, trying to catch up to Anderoa and Jammy James. Jammy James yet to make a pit stop. There's yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. I don't know who that is. That might be Zach Stricken Ferrari, as that pulls off to the side. Yeah, unlucky for the tier coordinator. He's going to have to hit the showers early.
Well, MNT Marvin, really, he's counting on Will G at the moment, because he currently doesn't have the pace to catch Anderoa, but it does have the pace to kind of stick with him, so I think that's what they're trying to do right now.
Well, certainly Jammy James is really going to start to feel the wear on the tyres, especially with the slightly damp track. He's going to be sliding around the place, probably overheating just slightly, so it's really not going to help his case. Anderoa seems to be a lot more confident in accelerating and also in braking zone. He's in the DRS range. As now Vaporeon's out of the race. Safety car's out. Mikulicki's been spun around, I think.
Well, he makes it into the pits. He actually had the whole pit entry there. I don't know if that could actually be a penalty for Will T. I mean, it's not really going to matter, but
yeah, he's not going to lose the championship.
And this is what we're talking about. Forbes would have been in, like, he was the only one that was able to keep up with Anderoa, and he took himself out the Grand Prix. Right now, he could be with Will.
Problems on the inters, but everyone else is fitting the soft. This is such a strange strange series of events, really. Like, the tracks, it's raining, but it's been raining for a number of laps now, and it's really not gotten wet at all, but it's still drizzling on our screens. So I don't know, this is a risk from Cohen, but it can certainly pay off for him. Well,
where we have a lot of mixed conditions in here. It seems like it's been a very sunny race in AOR F2 tonight.
There's comment on Anderoa, Jamie James, Marvin and Ayrton. They're really going to be at risk here. Sorry for cutting you off there, but they've been caught up behind the safety car, so if they were to pit, Will would be leading this Grand Prix on the softs, coming in second on the inters, then LeBron in third.
I was just going to say that we're having a lot of battles in F3 at the moment, but it's further down the grid. But at the moment, there is actually about a 5-man fight for net P1.
Yep.
And they're in a 5 or a 6-man train. Oh, this is. Well, let's continue looking on. Right now, here is the grid from 1st to 14th. We started with 17 runners. We've lost 3 during this Grand Prix, sadly. One of the championship contender against Will. So Will is our newly crowned F3 championship, and it's so deserved. In so many levels, he's really had the consistency and the pace this season. So I think we will congratulate him again at the end of the race. But all we've got to say is what a stunning season and what a stunning show he has put on.
Absolutely, he's been one of the most consistent drivers, and he deserves this championship.
Well, like I said, let's run through the grid at the moment. So in first is Anderoa on 9-lap old medium tyres right now. So how does that work? Wait, he pitted at the same time as Marvin. Okay, I thought they pitted. So Anderoa is sitting here in P1, and he's really dominated the Grand Prix so far, but this safety car has allowed M&T Marvin in P2 to finally get on the back of him and possibly put up a challenge. Behind them is NER Ayrton, who's also been showing very good pace tonight in the Grand Prix. But then here we go for all the people on brand new tyres. It is FEA Will in P4 and soft tyres who will be looking to take the checkered flag and take the victory with these tyres. LeBron in P5 also on softs, and behind him is Bruno in P6, who's also on for a very good result tonight and could be on for a podium actually. Artillero in P7 for soft on soft tyres as well, and he's looking to possibly do what his teammates been doing as of recently. As Artilleros, they were very close, matched very well through most of the season, but recently Anderoa has showed absolutely amazing pace, and Artilleros kind of just fell off a bit. Behind him is Baki in the Mercedes on soft tyres as well, but then behind him in P9 is Jamie James on intermediate tyres.
I just think it's the wrong strategy call. Like,
there's no spray.
We've seen so many drivers go onto the intermediates and then immediately come off. Cohen pitted and he fitted the inters, and then he went onto the soft straight away. So it's just it's really confusing at this point in time. But I think we're going to get racing next lap as Nicholizzi pulls up to the back of the grid. He almost goes into the back of his teammate there. They're really having a bad day, aren't they?
Well, I wouldn't say that was really their fault. Jamie James just broke right mid-corner. Broke mid right corner, but safety car in this lap. P10 is Mayo, it's going in P11, Sullivan is P12, D1 P13, and Nicholizzi in P14. Like you said, they've not had a great race today, but we'll see how they get on, as they will be on new softs, and we know they can make moves in the grid. Here goes Andrea as they decide to begin racing, and they flat out and gets a very nice start away from Marvin, but also Ayrton struggled a bit on the start as well. G looks to put on the pressure on his brand new soft tyres. They go into turn 1, nobody really making a move. Further down the grid, actually, there's Mayo down the inside of its oh my god, as it looks like the inters are really not faring Jamie James well at the start of this safety car, and I think that definitely was the wrong strategy. Here goes D Warren though, down the inside of Souls in the stake, and the first left-hander does get the move done on the Renault. What a very good dive bomb, and Nicholizzi also takes that opportunity to make the move on the Renault driver.
Well, the softs are going to be much quicker than the mediums at this moment in time. Coleman almost forced a move on Mail as well. Well, just a little bit up ahead. Seemingly all clean throughout the field on the restart. It's Anderoa on aged tyres. Same for Marvin. And they're going to be struggling a lot against Ayrton, Will and LeBron behind.
Well, looking on at the moment, Will G really piling on the pressure on NER Ayrton, and it looks like he's not going to be able to hold this position for much longer. As he does, I believe, not activate the ERS, but he is catching on slipstream. He has the better straight line speed. Now he's going to go down the inside, challenging the medium runner, and does look to get the move done, but Ayrton will fight it, but doesn't have the grip to support his fight. OLG now moves on to his teammate M&T Marvin, who is also looking on to Anderoa. As also further down the grid is LeBron, sorry to cut you off there, trying and attempting to get down the inside of Ayrton, and they're going to stick side by side going up the hill. Ayrton cuts him off and makes sure that is not happening just yet.
Going to be a game of patience for Ayrton. His tyres will make it to the end, most certainly, but he's gonna be a lot slower at this point in the race, so he's just got to hold his nerve, stick it in, and hope that he doesn't get overtaken, because eventually he will be able to fight with the soft runners, which is pretty much the most used tyre on the grid at the moment. Only 4 drivers on a set of medium tyres.
Well, it looks like Will G goes to set up the move on his teammate this lap, possibly making a copycat. No, he's going to actually catch a bit sooner here, and it looks like M&T Marvin actually pulls off to let his teammate by there. His DRS is now enabled, meaning Marvin has actually done a very good strategy there. And going to see, right, Will's on on soft, not super soft, oh my god, on soft tyres, and I'll just stick in his DRS and possibly get the move done on Anderoa, there we go.
Whilst we weren't watching, LeBron found a way past Ayrton into turn number 1. It was a pretty clean cut move from him there, as Marvin didn't make it too difficult for his teammate, so Will is going to try and take it to Anderoa, which should be an easy move because his soft tyres are in much better condition than Anderoa's mediums.
Artillero really not having the best time in the final race, and actually spun it going up the hill over the grass and gave Backy it's Colton some wing damage, who was really just a sitting duck there. Right? Wait, did they not? Somebody got wing damage.
It was Artillero.
Ah, right, okay.
It's been a season to forget for Artillero. Despite his pace, he's been so unlucky. He's actually
battle for the lead. I'm really sorry to cut you off again. Will G makes an absolutely stunning move around the outside of Anderoa, and it looks like he secured himself the victory. He now needs to peel off 3 seconds of a gap. Remember, he does have that penalty from earlier. I'll let you speak.
Well, I was saying that despite him being really quick, according to the spreadsheet, Artillero has not even got a single point this season, which is quite hard to believe. He's DNF'd in all but 3 races he's started, so it's really unfortunate.
How many of his has he started?
He started in all but 1. He didn't race in USA.
So he's only finished 3?
Yeah, only finished 3 races.
Out of, what is that? 11?
10.
10 races. Okay, yeah, I would say a season 2 forget for Artillero, but also looks like Marvin's strategy call has kind of worked here, and now he's right on the back of Anderoa, but also looking behind him, we're going to watch from LeBron's view right now as Marvin goes round the outside and gets a move done before the braking zone, but looks like LeBron also has ideas of getting past the driver that was really dominating this race before this safety car.
Well, his tyres are really not going to be in their best working condition, especially since we've got a number of laps to go. LeBron could size up a move on him very shortly, but he doesn't. Well, it's not an overtaking move into turn 5 there, so he's going to pull back. I think Bruno was challenging Ayrton, but he seemed to have backed off. He's found his way into the fight now. The leaders all separated by about well, I want to say 3 seconds down to 7th. That sounds about right. 3 seconds down to 7th, probably a little bit more. Ooh, and Rowe running a little bit wide there. That's not going to help him on exit, as he is just in the DRS range of Marvin, but he's not going to get the benefit of the slip through that LeBron will have as a yellow flag through sector 3. I think that might be D Warren around.
No, it's Toro Rosso.
Oh, it's Mail then, isn't it?
Well, LeBron doesn't get the move done into turn 1. He's not really being too aggressive here. He's taking his time. And D Warren actually does retire from the session there as he comes into the pits. But one person to mention is Ayrton, who actually could come into effect here on his medium tyres towards the end of the race. The softs will go off a bit, especially with these kind of conditions where there's going to be a lot more wheel spin from the tyres.
Oh, you can see these drivers are really sliding around in the ever dampening track. It's not getting wet enough for intermediates, but it's certainly wet enough to cause issues for these drivers. They're all sliding about, doing a bit of Tokyo drift in the acceleration zones. Well,
there is, if you're wondering, sector 1 and 2 yellow flags. That is just D Warren coming out the pits. That's not him, that's his AI car. But Will G really pushing his car here, but Marvin doing all he can to kind of stay within that 3 seconds. I don't know if you want to check race direct, or do you want to let it just flow and see what happens at the end for the final race?
Oh, you're the boss here. I can tell you penalties if you'd like.
I say we'll let it flow and let it be a mystery by the end. Marvin, though, does get a little bit of a tank slapper coming out of the Senna chicane. The Senna S. But does hold the position in P2. Will G really just finding some amazing pace right now, but he's finding it at the right time because them soft really could go off at the end of the stint, or the end of the race.
Well, that could maybe allow Ayrton to get back into it, but to have just under 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix, we're going to come around to start lap 31 very soon. That will mean 6 racing laps left, as there's a battle going on between Michelizzi and Solid Ninja Snake. Michelizzi managed to get his wing damage fixed on the safety car, so he's going to be quicker than ever. Artillero on for his first points this race. Good to see from him. He's in 9th place, despite the unfortunate... I just don't remember what happened to him already.
He went up the hill and had a very big sideways moment and cut right over the grass and smacked into Cohen and got a bit of wing damage. He still has a bit of wing damage. Yeah, he does. There's damage on the right hand side, so I mean it's going to affect him in sector 2, but it's hard to make an overtake there. So overall, he's kind of lucked out in a way.
Up the order, LeBron's found a way past Andrew Rowe. He moves into 3rd position, getting the points for the Toro Rosso team, but he's lost a lot of ground to Marvin in overtaking Andrew Rowe. He's having a little bit of lag issues. He's flipping all around the place, back here on a little bit wide. This is a really great fight for the last spot on the podium.
Well, here we go. Will G does have the gap of 3.4 seconds, which I know that secures him the win, but he does need to hold that gap, as the cars are really struggling now. The water's not standing still, and there's still a bit of sun peeking through the clouds, so inters may not be an issue, but it seems like Anderoa has more issues, and Solid Instinct goes round the outside, and he has no answer against the Renault driver.
Absolutely, Anderoa and Marvin both on the, they pitted at the same time. They're really going to be feeling the tyres now, because LeBron, in a space of about a lap, has pulled a second up to Marvin. So 2 MNT drivers going to be going at it. Yellow flags through sector 2. I don't know who that is. I think it might have been Baki. Oh, it's Bruno. He's letting Baki back through, from what I know. So they might have been involved in an incident together, and Bruno being sportsman. That was very nice to see him. Jamie James retiring in the pit lane now, as it's really heating up right now.
Well, it seems it's really the drivers are struggling in finding any chance they have to make a move.
I think LeBron's going to have him here.
Well, I think Marvin is going to be defenceless on his medium tyres. But LeBron will move to the left hand side of the track on his soft and will get the move done. Marvin does try and fight it, does get the switch back there on his MNT teammate, but doesn't get anything done. That's a shame. Maybe looks to come back in the next corner. There is Jamie James's AI DNF car. Maybe a bit of a distraction for some people, but is Cohen also trying to stick with the likes of Anderoa? He's really Cohen's not had the best of luck tonight. We hadn't seen any of the moves that we were seeing for the likes of last week. Maybe that's kind of because a few people were having a go at him for his late braking and incidents caused due to that. So it's a shame to see that.
And in my eyes, I think Cohen's been one of the most impressive drivers this season. Coming up from F4 in the middle of the season, you'd think he'd be running at the back, but competing for the win. I think Artillero's gone around and he's out of the race. Could that be a late safety car? I don't think so. I think we're too late into the Grand Prix.
Yeah, we're too late.
Have a full course caution.
It's a shame that that's happened to Artilleros. Cohen does try and bring a fight to Anderoa, Jesus, and actually sets himself up for the straight very nicely as he activates DRS just now, and will move to the right hand side of the track, getting the move done on the braking as Anderoa has really just not been lucky in this medium stint. Bruno going wide though, back down the inside, sorry to cut you off. Is there a battle going on down below? I really don't mean it, just things happening at the wrong time at the moment. But I'll actually let you take on the next battle.
Well, just quickly before that, Brett was getting a little bit stick for cutting me off. You know what, sometimes I waffle on too much, but I guess we can talk about Bruno and Baki as they've been both very consistent drivers. In the upper reaches, they're third and fourth in the standings. 2 podiums for Bruno. He's been in the points every race except for Australia, where he DNF'd. These two battle of sort of the vice champions, if you'd like to say. But Baki really starting to pull away, so I think this might be the end of that battle. We can maybe look up the field because Ayrton is really sticking it to Marvin. Marvin's struggling with the tyres in these dying laps right now. Could Ayrton getting a little bit of a fishtail there, but he's still going to have the DRS on the Williams. Could he make a move into turn number 4? Not quite. So it's going to be Marvin from Ayrton, third and fourth.
Well, we look on to this fight, and I believe actually is Ayrton running the Ayrton Senna? Yes, he is. He's running the Ayrton Senna helmet. So really following his name here, but he is practically pushing Marvin through the second sector. But I think that was a smart call from Ayrton, because he does have a lot of pressure going on from behind here, from its Cohen. So maybe he's waiting to get the move done on the straight here.
Of course, Cohen's tyres are going to be in better condition than both of these guys right now. So he's actually sticking a nose in. Losing the back end there is Cohen, and he managed to save on it. I was just saying that his tyres were better, but it seems like he's struggling in these wet conditions.
Well, we go on to the final lap of the Grand Prix here, and Marvin looks to he might actually lose it to the line, but I think if they don't make a move here, we will look on to the leader of this race. Yes, we will. So FVA OLG, our championship winner here, is going to really show how consistent he is, how opportunistic he is in this race, and opting for the soft during that safety car it's really benefited him here, and he's looking to take the checkered flag as he comes across the final major corner here, and let's take him to the line. I think we really need to give him a round of applause here, and I will actually give him a round of applause as he now crosses the line, and it's an absolutely smashing result and a smashing way to end the title fight there after Forbes' final kind of straw. Ayrton doesn't get the move done on Marvin there. Andoreo, I'd said it right the first time, I believe. I don't know. Andorra, there we go. Gets P5, stealing it off of back in the end. It's Cohen moves all the way down to P7. Michelese P8. Bruno P9. Mael P10. Finishing on the points as he spins across the line there. And the Solid Instinct will be the final person to finish this race. It was a very up and downy grid, we must say. And what a season, I must say.
Well, as Solid Ninja Snake crosses the line, that marks the end of AOR F3 season 19. I think that's right, but I've really got to give it to Will. As bro, I want to ask you something. I'm not gonna ask you the driver of the day. I'm gonna ask you driver of the season.
Driver of the season?
Let's go for two driver of the seasons each.
2 drivers of the season. Well, first up, obviously, I've got to give it to Will G. He's put on an amazing show, and he's been great to watch. My second driver, that's a hard one. That is a hard decision to make. Well, you know what? I'm gonna give it to NER Ayrton. That's what I'm gonna say. Him and Will Z have really kind of done very good things this season. Ayrton wasn't one that I really expected to see pace from this season, or when I joined the commentary booth. So I think it's good to see him fighting up there with guys that are looking to go in AOR F2 next season.
Right, since you've chosen Ayrton and Will, I'm gonna say, you know what? I think you've got to give it to Forbes as well because of how he took it to Will. I just want to mention Williams have won the constructors as well, so congratulations to Will and Marvin. But I'm gonna give it to Forbes for his championship challenge, and I'm also gonna say Cohen for my driver of the season as well, because of how he came up through F4. He didn't have many races, but he took it to the leaders despite being, well, you'd expect a F4 driver to be one of the back markers, but he's really taken it to them, so I'm going to say Coven and Forbes.
Well, let's just mention the grid here. Will G in P1, M&T LeBron in P2, M&T Marvin P3, Ayrton P4, and Deroa, there we go, P5, Baki P6, Izcone P7, Michelese P8, Bruno P9, Mail P10, Solid Undertake P11, Artillero P12, Jamie James P13, D Warren P14, Vaporon P15, Eller Zach P16, and FVA Forbes. And that's a great way to end the season, because that is my final voice crack on this game. So you guys will, I'm sure, will enjoy that now. You will not be hearing my very, very, very bad and serious voice cracks. It really needs fixing. But congratulations to everyone. I must say, though, a driver that really spotted out today was LeBron. He really put on a show and a very good fight, coming from, I believe it was P12, P13 to P3. So
the season's over.
I know.
Didn't it?
Well, we will see you next season. Just depending if we get placed for F3. But I mean, personally, I think there's nowhere else we can go. So That's fine. We hope you enjoyed our great commentary as V8 feels now in a Ferrari, so we'll see how that gets on. But we'll see you next season for season 20. I'm just taking that off Daniel's calculation because, yeah, I'm not making my own. But goodbye.